So I'm going to ask a question that really has perplexed me now for the last, say, 4 years. The role of our government and the role of our media and the role of the entertainment industry is such that they almost act like they're not afraid of us, like they don't care what we think. They don't care about what they project, almost like they know they're protected, or like they know that they're um, feeling like they have each other's back so much that they're not afraid of the general public. This makes no sense. The media has so completely shifted, especially to talk about the narrative, that they do not care what the majority of Americans think. They're just going to press an agenda. And this is perplexing to me. And I don't understand what they know that we don't know. And thus, that's the name of this episode. What do they know that we don't know? And who's protecting them that isn't protecting us? So I keep asking the question in my mind also is, what is it about them that they believe that they can do anything that they want to and have no ramifications? And I believe it's truly that they believe they're gods, that they are God, or they are of a different type of faith than what is traditionally been Christian faith, or it could be even Muslim faith, Jewish faith. They're just not on board with what is traditional faith. I heard a comment the other day that somebody said, I believe in the source. And I thought, the source, well, that kind of sounds like Mother Nature, or it kind of sounds like Mother Earth. No wonder there's this narrative about we have to save the earth, global warming, global climate change, that we have to be focused on the source. The source is not him in their minds. The source is this, where we're living. So that's troubling, because when you believe that this is what we're living for, then you don't really worry about anything that you'll have to answer to. And that's troubling, because if you don't worry about what you have to answer to, governments will do what they want to do, and they won't care. The media will present whatever the narrative is that they're being told to push, and they will not have any ramifications to it. And likewise, the entertainment industry, which is very perplexing as well. So many people are on board with this progressive, communist agenda that is so detrimental to our society. And they continue to push it and push it and push it. And I just get the impression again that media types and entertainment types, maybe even sports types, have been given a memorandum that says, do this, and we gotcha. There will not be ramifications for you. It's the only thing I can come up with. So again, what are they guaranteed? What are they feeling that their protection is? They don't seem to be budging on any of their stances. In the last 4 years, it's really actually accelerated, and it's been amplified. Perhaps they're thinking that there is no turning back. We've already put ourselves out there, and there really is no turning back, so what's the point? There are a number of people that I think have been brought into the media, into government, into the entertainment industry that were definitely left-leaning, progressive types anyway, and they've just been cultivated. It's got to be the only thing I can really wrap around in my mind. You know, but if they don't understand history and they have these blinders on, then this doesn't make any sense. Because if they don't know the history of when these kinds of things were put in place, aristocracies and leaders who just continue to push on the population and push it down, take and not give back. As far as to the majority, eventually the majority rises up. And that's really what is going to happen in this country if we don't watch it. I have a feeling that we are absolutely on a path of rising up and having to take on the government structures that we've got in order to quell it and get it back to normalcy again. The French Revolution is a classic example of this, where the aristocracy, the elites, the people that absolutely had the control and were pushing down on their middle class and their poor, literally didn't care. Let them eat cake, right? It was that whole thing. And when they pushed and pushed and pushed enough, they eventually found themselves in the square, and there were guillotines that were taking their heads off. And the unbelievable thing, if we really know history, is that when this was happening, it was actually them turned on each other. So people that were ahead of the revolution and actually forced their way into the castles and into the government buildings and were lopping off the heads of all the people that were absolutely coming down on the populace. Even within their own ranks, they all turned on each other. And I think it's because they had no faith. France at that time was just having a horrific problem with religion and faith, and thus people turned, and they turned to dark things. In Mark 5:1-20, Mark talks about Legion. And he says, Legion is out there, and Legion is my name, and there are many among us. And I start thinking about who is Legion. And Legion basically it finds its way into people until confronted by Christ. And once confronted by Christ, cowers and shocked and anxious, and starts to push back on this God, that God has actually come to confront them. And what do? God forces them into the swine, and the swine run towards cliffs and throw themselves over the cliffs. I just got the feeling like this is the direction we're going in, that once all of these people who are government, media, entertainment, all of them, once confronted by God, they will become extremely anxious. They will be terrified and will literally run into themselves and run into the swine and throw themselves over the cliff. It's a great analogy. And it's the only way that I can see that we will actually get ourselves back to some sense of normalcy again. I ask the question again, do people have blinders on to what's going on? Especially the elites, especially the entertainment people, the media people, the government elites. Do they have such blinders on that they do not see what they're doing, that they don't understand what is going on? And either they don't know their history or they don't care. And if they don't care, then, like is always said, if we don't know our history, we're bound to repeat it. And I have a bad feeling that that's where we're going. The last thing I want to talk about is John 15. Jesus talks about being the vine. But in one segment here it says, anyone who does not remain in me will be thrown out like a branch and wither. People will gather them and throw them into a fire, and they will be burned. Man, that's tough, because I have a bad feeling that this is where we're going, is that eventually those that are bad vines, bad segments, will be pruned, and they will wither, and they will eventually be gathered up. I hope not. I hope that what we're actually going to is brighter times, but I think we're not even touching on yet what this election season could bring all the way until November, and where we could possibly go as a nation and as a world in our society. So pray for all of those that are out there that make up Legion. Pray for them that they see a light and that they actually come around and take their blinders off and realize what they've been contributing to history and what we don't want to see happen again. It's the only thing that we can really ask for right now. Peace be with you.